Hey, Magdi, this is Alan. Hi, thank you for having this session. I've been on and off with your session, and we met like probably about 10 years ago when you're still having personal sessions at your residence.
Okay.
Yeah, um, I have a little difficulty getting the concept of the self is the awareness. I really appreciate um, the notion that um, I am the reality, I'm real. Uh, but to say that the reality is just awareness, I mean, I sort of, intellectually, I can go with that, but there's still like this lingering question about, yes, there's consciousness, and consciousness is a main component of our existence. But the reality is more than just awareness. Well, at least in more than uh, awareness on the surface level. Maybe in the deep down, everything is awareness. But right now, for what we can be aware of, there is the awareness, and there's also the perceived, the things that to be perceived. To say to narrow ourselves down to just being the awareness, it seems to exclude certain parts of reality. And that somehow, I think, sort of goes against the fundamental belief that, not belief, the sense that whatever is real is what we really are. This might be purely just like intellectual thing, but it keeps bothers me.
Yes.
Wondering if you have any comments on that.
Yes. So first, let's define reality. I mean, what do we mean by this term when we use the term reality? So from my perspective, I use the word reality in conjunction with that which doesn't change, that which is changeless, which has no cause, which is not the result of something else, okay? That which is absolute. That which doesn't depend on time and space, doesn't depend on any particular experience. So reality is not, for example, like a state, because mind states change. Reality cannot be, for example, something, because things are also changing. They're subject to time and space. That which is and cannot not be. So then I ask myself the question, okay, what is it in my experience that is and cannot not be? When I ask myself this question, I realize that there is a possibility that everything that I perceive, the thoughts, the perceptions, the sensations, the ideas, could be part of a dream that I'm having, or it could be hallucination. Sometimes when you are under hallucination or under hypnotism, you experience things that are a hypnotic state. Therefore, given that it's not absolute, there is no absolute certainty, I would say that, okay, then reality cannot be something that I perceive. So I rule that out. What remains? Because there is, even if it's a dream, there is a reality to the dream. There is something that perceives the dream. And that which perceives the dream is not changing. Everything that's appearing in the dream is changing, but the perceiving factor is not changing. So in my experience, what is it that is that and that cannot be? I come upon awareness, consciousness, the perceiving, knowingness. Now, knowingness or awareness isn't limited to awareness of perceptions or awareness of memories or thoughts or awareness of bodily sensations. It's not limited to phenomenal awareness or awareness of phenomenal events. There is another aspect of awareness, which is awareness of awareness. I am aware that I'm aware. Like I could be looking at a rose or looking at the sky, and I'm aware of the sky, but there is also I'm aware that I'm aware of the sky, which is completely different direction. It's different conversation. So there is phenomenal awareness and noumenal awareness, meaning awareness which knows itself, which is sufficient unto itself. Now then the question is there a reality out there that is beyond awareness? Let's say that there is. Let's say that there is a reality which is absolute, beyond awareness. Now, what is this reality without knowingness? If there is a wider reality, absolute reality, beyond the reality of consciousness, has no relationship to me whatsoever, no relationship to awareness, no relationship to consciousness, then we might as well hypothesize 20 of, why only one? Why do you hypothesize only one reality that has, let's hypothesize 6 different. So coming back, that whatever reality that there is, it must relate to this reality right now. So there must be some relationship of that reality and this reality. Because if there are 2 distinct realities and we have 2 realities and we're no longer talking about reality, we're talking about something that is limited. If they're not connected, then they have a certain realm, the realm of the East, and another realm, the realm of the West. We're no longer talking about a reality that connects them, because these 2 realities are not connected, and the fact they're not connected makes them completely hypothetical and have no relationship whatsoever with this reality right now. So there has to be an connection between those 2 realities. In order to speak about 2 realities, you have to somehow know these 2 realities. In order to speak about Africa and Asia, you have to have some sort of knowingness, even academic knowingness, about Africa and about Asia. And you are this knowingness. These 2 realities of Africa and Asia are not separate. They belong to your knowingness. They belong to one reality, which is the reality of consciousness. So when we talk about awareness or consciousness, just to be clear, it's very important, we are talking about the reality right now, which hears these words, which perceives. This invisible, formless, whatever it is, we call it consciousness, whatever, that which is invisible and yet it's undeniable, that perceives, which perceives this body, which perceives thoughts, which perceives, sensations, but also which knows it perceives. There is a self-knowingness. I know I am and I know I perceive. That's different from I perceive the sky. There is an inner knowingness. an inherent knowingness to awareness, consciousness.
Okay, so I think the difficulty it might be just syntactical, because normally when we're talking about awareness, we're talking about this knowingness. But there are, for example, in our lives, periods where we become sort of unaware, like in sleep or get knocked out by anesthesia or things like that. And I understand you might be talking about not, the normal consciousness, but like awareness being greater than the consciousness. But I mean, just, sometimes I guess it's easy to get sort of entangled in the syntax, in the semantics. Yeah,
I get it. Now, when you power down your computer at night, you power down your computer. Is your computer has your computer disappeared?
It's still there.
But there are because you powered it down, there is nothing on the screen. There is no audio. You're not watching a video.
Correct.
But okay, I'm using it as a metaphor. Okay, now when the body mind, when the biocomputer, when you take the biocomputer, okay, now the biocomputer, I'm talking about the body mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the body mind appears to you.
Mm-hmm.
You look at your hand, you perceive a hand, or you perceive an image of yourself, right? Or you perceive a bodily sensation. So the body mind is perceived. Yes, you agree with me?
Mm-hmm.
You perceive it. So the biocomputer is a field of perception.
Right.
Right. And it changes. It varies. Like if you drink a bottle of scotch, your perception of the biocomputer is going to, and of the world is going to be very different than when you're not drunk, right?
Right.
When there is anesthesia, the perception, what you perceive is completely different than when you are drunk or when you are sober. So there is being drunk, being under anesthesia. All this relates to the body mind. It does not relate to consciousness. It relates to that which you perceive. When you are in the waking state and sober, you're perceiving this perception right now. Right. Mm-hmm. If I'm drunk, I'm sort of perceiving the screen, but the screen is dancing, and then the screen disappears, and then I'm into a drunk state. And when I'm under anesthesia, all of these perceptions are dimmed down. They're dimmed down. We may come to the conclusion that, because the biocomputer is dimmed down, that means that consciousness has been turned off. That's not the right conclusion. The correct conclusion is that the phenomenon, the screen now is blank, but the screen is still there. So the image on the screen is no longer 20 colors or 20 sounds or 20 shapes. It is down to 0 color or 0.001 or 0.000001 colors, shapes, and sounds. Now, if we conclude that in anesthesia, consciousness is absent, then our conclusion has to be a valid conclusion, means we have verified, we have gone there, we've gone to deep sleep, and we knocked on the door of consciousness, and consciousness said, I am absent. And if you did that, you are right. Your conclusion is that I knocked on the door of consciousness, and consciousness was absent in deep sleep. Then my question to you would be, who knocked on the door? Can consciousness go and verify its absence? Or theoretically, we can say, oh, well, in deep sleep, consciousness is absent. But experientially, it's not. We have no experiential evidence. And logically, it does not fit my reasoning that awareness can check its own absence and verify its own absence and confirm its own absence in deep sleep. It's an oxymoron. How could consciousness verify its absence? And one could definitely make the statement experientially that in anesthesia or in deep sleep, there is no memory. But one could not say for sure that there were no events. Sometimes there are events and there is zero memory of the events. Then we'd say, well, this event didn't happen. The absence of memory or the absence of perception or recollection of perception is not an evidence of the absence of consciousness. It's not sufficient. At least it should provide you with some doubt about your statement.
Thank you.